Morning, Janice.
Morning, Anthony.
Today, let's talk about the frictionless solo Ager estate plan. What I mean by a frictionless first estate plan is that it's a great first step for solo Agers who have no plan at all. Taking this first step will help our solo Ager friends clarify their thinking and their decisions, all while at least putting a basic plan in place, in the meantime.
Yep.
So let's talk about that. So first, why do solo Agers need a frictionless first plan? Because we've seen and we've heard from way too many folks who are very, very stressed because they have no plan whatsoever.
Right.
And if you're a solo Ager and you don't have sort of the traditional, quote unquote, default heirs, executors, or family members sort of lined up to fill your default roles, it is very important to have something in place.
Yes.
And the reason why they haven't done something, again, this is based on our many conversations with folks, is because in many cases they're simply, have you heard the phrase, Janice, analysis paralysis?
Yes. Yep.
So like they're
stuck analyzing everything, right?
Trying to figure out which decision, it is a series of decisions making your estate plan, and they're just sort of frozen like a deer in headlights, yeah?
Absolutely. And it's a little more complex because it's solo Ager and they may not have this family pool that they're choosing from to do everything.
100%. And of course, there's this sort of fear of making a wrong decision or the consequences or the drawbacks of if you make one of those decisions incorrectly, like, oh no, what if I chose the wrong person, or what if I did the wrong this? So those are all sort of the reasons that we're hearing why our friends are not really having a plan in place quite yet.
Yep. Certainly valid. This could be very scary to think about, and yep.
So then why are we recommending or suggesting a frictionless plan to get started? What I mean by frictionless is a version of your estate plan that is as low cost and as low headache as possible. So if you make your plan low cost, theoretically, psychologically, it'll be a lot easier to make decisions and to just put something in place, because you should realize that, okay, I have something in place, but if I want to change it, it's not a big deal. I can just change it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's a couple $100 versus a couple $1,000,
right,
you're going to feel a little bit easier about that.
And you don't have that sort of feeling of sunk cost, like, oh, I spent, like you said, $1,000, $2,000, whatever people are charging these days to make this plan. Now I don't want to spend that again to make a change. Of course, that's natural.
Right.
So that's why we want to make it as frictionless as possible, as low cost as possible, as easy as possible, so that you can be nimble in your thinking and quick to make changes as needed. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And so that fear of making changes doesn't prevent you from having any plan at all. That's kind of the whole point here.
Exactly.
So our example of so you probably want to, okay, what does that mean? Well, how do I get this wonderful frictionless plan in place? Our example is pretty much 3 steps. For our solo Ager friends, you do a do-it-yourself will using one of the softwares that we've sort of reviewed. The one that we're currently recommending is freewill.com. We'll throw links in there at the bottom.
Yes.
It's free. It's in the name, and it's pretty good. We've gone through it for basic wills. It'll definitely get the job done. So in terms of some of the major roles, you might be wondering what to do. You might. This is sort of very pointing at myself here, but just name a professional executor. So long as you're comfortable with the information we're throwing out there and you feel like we'll do a decent job, put us in for now. Doesn't have to be your final decision. That's the whole point of this sort of low cost, frictionless plan. And then you can revisit that as time goes by. Yeah?
Yeah, you're not locked in. If you make changes, that's the point. If you can change, if it's $100 and you got to make the changes, you can do it, right?
Totally. And then the last step is to have an attorney supervised signing. This is the only costs really involved, actual dollars out of your pocket. And the reason even for this low cost plan, the reason we recommend an attorney supervised signing is because there are a lot of technicalities and steps to having a authentic or a legally binding will signing. And if you mess up even one or two of those, it was all pointless. Everything you've done is, the court will kind of throw it out. So in the New York area, you can, for $200 or maybe $300, you can have an attorney with their staff as witnesses, sort of supervise the whole signing. You just got to schedule a time to go in, and they will supervise your self-prepared will. So compared to the rates for a full estate plan with an attorney in New York, which is literally thousands of dollars,
Yes.
your cost is much lower. And that number, $200 or $300, maybe even lower if you're in a non-New York area. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's it. We're outlining this low cost, easy to change, easy to not get too tied up in those big decisions version of your estate plan, so you can have something in place.
Yes.
While you think about, okay, let me now that I have this bare bones skeleton in place, let me think about how I really want to tweak it and fix it here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's your safety net, just in case, right? So you have something. It might not be perfect, but it's something to start with. Down in the comments, there's always a link for your to get your free copy.
Perfect. Thank you, Janice, as always. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I hope this suggestion is helpful to somebody, and keep throwing out or keep commenting and emailing us with your questions, and we'll try our best to answer. All right. Thanks, Janice. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye now.